you, and more importantly to be with you for some little more time and be younger as you are. So, it is always good to be young colleagues, you get many things new, you mentor them for their future, but at the same time you get many good new things, and I am expecting that you will give few things at least for older colleagues to make time bound changes in the system as well as in the program. As said by Dr. Saharan, I am basically a wheat breeder, but for about 1 year I am looking after a program which is crop improvement. And crop improvement has certain basic science subjects, also the applied and also strategic. To name, we work with plant breeding, genetics, cytogenetics, germplasm, physiology, biotechnology and seed. And now we are also having a program on haploid production, and I was discussing with my colleague Dr. Sati that we should now start working on speed breeding. So, I will primarily cover these topics, but will also give some idea about the other things that we are doing in the crop improvement program. If I understand that most of you must be aware about the All India coordinated program approach in country. If anyone has doubt, then you can anytime raise your finger. I will just address that issue first. So, in 1965, this All India coordinated wheat improvement project was started from the this place where we are, division of genetics, having Cummings lab then later on, and then it was moved to Karnal in 1991, and then in 2014 it was elevated to the status of an institute rather than a directorate. These are the mandates or major activities we are working. I would request Dr. Vaibhav to share the PPT slides with all the participants, so that you make more time on my talk rather than noting down. So, we have a mandate of not only developing wheat genotypes, but also coordinating the research done through 29 funded and more than 100 voluntary centers across the country, starting from Kashmir, and we have operation till Dharwad. We are not having down Dharwad, but till Dharwad we are having the operations, and we look at 5 disciplines. The 5 disciplines are crop improvement, resource management, crop protection, wheat quality, and then basic social sciences. And 3 more important things that we do, that we have 2 national facilities, one at Shimla, which is our Rust laboratory. They do the race pathotyping. Dr. Saharan and Vaibhav are more expert in that business, but I will say that they do race pathotyping, they keep eye on the race evolution, and also they supply the inoculum to the coordinated centers, so that we have the resistant material to all the prevalent races. The second most important thing is that we have extended a summer nursery facility where wheat can be grown between May to October, and it is open to all centers in the country. Anyone who is working on wheat is welcome to share the material, and we grow it there, do 3 things there primarily. One is to advance the generation, second is to make corrective crosses, and third is to go for multiplication corrective crosses that are need based. We do not encourage more corrective crosses and larger multiplication, but it is done on need base. The last point that I would like to say is that earlier when the project was started, the major job was to develop a variety or technology and give it to the development agencies, but now we also have the role to play as an extension worker, and happy to share that we have full-fledged team of extension group where they look at technology popularization and also on the impact. This is the slide to show that at the time of inception of the project where we were in 1965 and in 2018-19 where we are. During this period, we have developed almost 480 plus wheat genotypes, 200 plus wheat genetic stocks, and these genotypes were meant for different production zones as well as production conditions. Besides that, we also had some niche areas like salinity, waterlogging, and to some areas in Bihar, Bengal and parts of Karnataka, we have the problem of waterlogging where sowing of wheat is difficult. There we recommend the surface seeding. Main issue here I would like to say is that when we started this project and till date, we have only taken 112% of the more area. That means almost double. But when it comes to the production, it has gone 7 times. And when it comes to productivity, it has gone 300 times. Not 7 times, 700 times, sorry. And productivity 300 times. And one figure that I have given is that in 1963-64, the country's productivity of wheat was 760 kg per hectare, and in the last season it was 3507 kg per hectare. So, this is the quantum of achievement that this project has made. I forgot to tell that we got the best All India Coordinated Research Project Award during 2018, and it was third time that we got by the same institution from the council. This is the breakup that I was talking. This slide I need to tell that 467 because 14 varieties have been notified only couple of days back. So, that 14 number is to be added, and these are the genetic stocks to which we have provided, and let me share that these are trait based. So, if anyone is interested to look at the diversity for a particular trait at a particular loci, to look for the different or differential or geographically or genetically different gene pool, then you can certainly look at the number of genetic stocks that we have for each trait, and one can go for any kind of population mapping, RIL, NIL, MAGIC, whatever you want to do. And in this we have 3 major things. One is the biotic, the other one is abiotic, and the third one is the quality. And in addition to this, we also have the support to look at hybrid wheat perspective, which is as on date not very potential, but we have not given up, we are still trying hard. And IRI is one of the collaborators where we are working on the hybrid wheat project. This is the slide to tell you that the variety C306, which was given 50 years back almost, still holds good for quality. And all the varieties that I have listed here till HD3086, last 2 genotypes, Dr. Saharan, Vaibhav and team at IRI, they have done wonderful job and they have given wonderful varieties. SD2967, one of the landmarks, had occupied more than 9 million hectare area in the country, northwest and northeast both. And now we have got the options for these 2. The options are DBW187, which is also meant for both the zones, and recently we have got DBW222. Those I have not listed here, but if someone of you is interested, then you can contact me or write back to me. This is to show you how wide network is. I forgot to mention that since you are beginning your career, you need to know several basic things. The concept of All India coordinated wheat improvement and later on in several other crops was given by Dr. A.V. Joshi, who was a researcher at IRI, and this concept has been replicated not only in many crops in India, but also outside India, and he was invited to give this concept and also to help several other countries in improving the production and productivity of crops in respective countries. So, this we can take as a credit that Indian research network through ICAR or National Agriculture Research System NARS has several flagship programs, and this is one of the flagship that has given, I consider it the maximum output or returns in terms of the investment. I do not know whether you all are really interested in looking at the different production conditions zones, but for the general information I have given that the two zones northwest and northeast make around 70% of the country's wheat production and area. And also have the challenges, because the rest of the country does not have that much. If we talk of northwest, the title of rust, characterization of rust, the yellow rust, which is a killer disease, is the most notorious problem for wheat program in northwest and North Hill zone, and the spot blotch which Dr. Saharan was citing is a complex. Earlier it was Helminthosporium, then it has been renamed as bipolaris, and several other complex issues, alternaria and other things, that makes it a very big problem for northeastern plain zone, and I am happy to say that I had worked for about 15-20 years on that problem. And nowadays, whatever we have in the field holds moderate resistance to spot blotch, and that is no more causing us any loss in terms of grain yield. Now, I will run through 2-3 more slides and tell you the concept. This is the specialty of coordinated setup, where you have set of genotypes, fixed design, fixed reps, fixed plot size, same agronomic practices, but different location and set of cooperators. And these last two are the only variables in the system that we can count and we should trust. The location is an advantage to us in the sense that we get stability, adaptability, widen up automatically when we work at different locations. And set of cooperators also help us because they have different breeding methodologies, breeding approaches, and also the selection criteria. But when it comes to the coordinated trial testing, the yield trial testing or the pathological screening, we need to follow the uniform pattern which I have said at the bottom, uniformity in recording. Now, we coming to, since we are now concentrating on the last 3 sets of trials, the 4 earlier ones have been given up, rather renamed or changed. Now, we have national initial varietal trial, and we have 7 series of national initial varietal trials, then we have advanced trials, and then we have few special trials. These are the zones. I would not go into it, you can find it there in the write up. And this is the uniqueness of this organization. The two organizations, I normally say that the Indian Agriculture Research Institute and Indian Institute of Wheat and Barley, we are the sister concerns, share many common things, many common heritage in terms of manpower, in terms of germplasm, and in terms of the material also. But when we talk of uniqueness, what is there? Few days back I was in Delhi, and we were looking at the National Conference on Jayad Agriculture and Horticulture, and there we were told that the country has released 5,000 varieties after this concept, and out of the 5,000, 500 are from the wheat. The second most important point for you people is that as on date, country has got 50 varieties of different crops including horticulture, which are now in the system for National Food and Nutritional Security Mission starting from April 1, 2020. And out of the 50 genotypes, 11 are from the wheat. So, that is the contribution in terms of food and nutritional security. And I have already told about the regional station Flowerdale, Simla, and also summer nursery at Dalang Maidan, which is catering to the need of off-season as well as screening. Now, this figure I was giving you, and there are some need-based changes in number of varieties, but see the last point. No major rust epidemic in the country since establishment of this project. Several countries in this world have faced problem of the disease, plant diseases, and have passed through the system when they had deficiency or shortage of food. But this country, because of this project, I am not taking the credit because I work in this project, but the country has proud significance for these projects, particularly wheat and rice. Coming to the national scenario, are you getting me what I am saying? Is it good enough for you, or I need to change my pace or speed? Coming to the national scenario, there are only 4 states in the country which are above or at par to the national average in productivity. And this is an indication to us that we need to work still hard and bring those performances starting from 1300 kg to our target is still Gujarat 3000 kg. And the reason is that we are targeting 4.5 ton average yield of the country, maybe in next 5 to 7 years, because the area will shrink and the production and productivity targets will continue to grow. This will tell you how complex things are for us. It looks very simple, breeding a variety, giving a variety or genetic stocks. But when it comes to the national scenario, these are some of the problems that I have listed. These are not all the problems. These are some of the problems. And if we sum up some of the problems, it is something around 35-40. And in addition to this, you also have problems. 46% of the soil is deficient in zinc, 17% in boron. And I forgot to mention that there are some areas where you have toxicity problems for boron and for aluminum. The boron toxicity leads to spike sterility, and then you get sterile spike and no seed set. And this is more common in the soils which are acidic in nature, particularly in West Bengal and Assam. This is the system of test. Let me share that this country makes around 10,000 cross combinations every year. I am talking about country, not about the institute. Out of the 10,000 crosses that we make, we come down to something around 1500 lines which are put to station trials or common varietal trials. Out of those 1500 lines, we narrow it down to something around 300 plus, 350, sometimes 300, which we put to national test. And out of the 300, we put something less than 100, sometimes it is even 50 to advanced trials. And out of those 50, only 5 to 10 depending on number are released annually. So, this is the quantum of work that people across disciplines are doing for this project. Coming to the national testing, we have 1 year of national initial varietal test, which is for 3 major traits: yield, resistance and quality. Quality we keep 50% of the traits, because the end product we look at the advanced stage, not at the initial stage. But for yield and resistance, we are very rigid, you can call it. We normally do not make any compromise unless a genotype has got something very extraordinary. We do consider extraordinary or outliers. Say if we have a recommendation from crop protection that this particular line is holding extraordinarily good for resistance, then we give a chance. If we get a recommendation from quality group that this has extraordinary quality trait, be it product quality, grain quality or processing quality, then we give it chance. And in advanced varietal trial, we test it for 2 years, advanced variety trial 1 and advanced variety trial 2. And these trials are zone specific, there is no national advanced trial except for special trials, and then advanced varietal trial 2. And in advanced varietal trial 2, it will have only the promotions from advanced varietal trial 1, mostly those are the final year entries. And we have couple of checks, long term check, local check, sometimes we call the checks like SD 2967, before that we had PBW 343, we had HUW 234, some landmark varieties which occupy sizable area at the farmers field. So, those we take, and we also take checks to make comparison for all 3 years. So, we need to take common checks. And the special trials, salinity, alkalinity as I told, then we also have a special trial on Ricocum. And then last year we started a special trial to explore that how much yield can be achieved with the available material, and that we named it as high yield trial. This was 15 genotypes, 7 locations, 4 applications, advanced varietal trial plot size, and you would be happy that we touched something around 80 quintals. 80 quintals means 8 tons, which is more than our expectations. This is the flow chart as I was saying, and I am happy to share that Dr. Saharan as a PI crop protection program at IIWBR for 4 years, Dr. Sir? 4 years, has given major emphasis on 2 diseases. One was canal bunt, which is a disease for trade, and the other one was head scab, which is a problem in humid areas. And now for both the diseases, the parameters are kind of qualifying. I am saying kind of qualifying means we do not encourage higher susceptibility levels in the material, but still we are looking for the spot blotch to put as a rider, and we are relaxing criteria because this problem is niche area specific, and also the has influence of environment to a larger extent than other diseases. These are the 7 trial series of national initial varietal trials. 1A and 1B is a common set where we grow it northwest and northeast, and also take material from, let me say that we call it national because we pool material from all the centers, funded as well as voluntary, and they have the fixed quota as per their program size, and they contribute. Second specialty is that we call it national because initially we had trials for across zones. Now, we are further narrowing down and restricting the trials to 2 or at the most 3 zones. In addition to the coordinated trials, we also have the responsibility to share ready-made material in terms of national nurseries and also international nurseries and trials. And the last 2 lines will be good enough to say that how much we are sharing. And this sharing is for 3 purposes. One is to give access to all those who are less fortunate, means those who do not have very strong breeding programs. Number 2 is allow the flow of material and let the breeder know that what is good in his or her germplasm and what is lacking. And number 3 is that these nurseries serve as a basic material for all the crossing programs, as a, we can call it pipeline, pre-breeding, column breeding, whatever you name, material to put into test. Some of the material which is given through these nurseries is also put as direct material for yield trials. In addition to Indian or national germplasm, we have access to the 2 major CGIAR institutes access for germplasm. One is CIMMYT, which is based in Mexico, and the other one is ICARDA, which is now based in Morocco. Initially it was in Syria, Aleppo. Because of some problems, it has been shifted to Morocco now. And on an average, we get around 2000 lines every year. And those 2000 lines are received in forms of different nurseries, trials, and we share some of the sets with the cooperators to see that what gold should good where and for what purpose. And then we also constitute elite international germplasm nursery out of this material, which is grown at Karnal. One full set is grown at Karnal and one full set is grown at NBPGR. NBPGR has only one objective, to look at post quarantine screening process, and we at Karnal look at the germplasm pooling, in situ selection by the researchers, and for this purpose we organize a special day at Karnal, invite the breeders, researchers from the country, they can come look at it and make selections, and we give very limited, maybe about 10 gram seed of each accession. I would like to say that 10 years back or 15 years back or 20 years back, of which Dr. Saharan reminded me, the diversity in the international material was very good, but now the diversity for the traits is narrowing down, and we have many duplicates given to different nurseries and trials. That is good for one purpose, that you have different trials or nurseries to target different areas, but that is also not good because you have to spend some of large amount of your resources, be it manpower, physical resource, land, and also the financial resource on the duplicates. So, my personal view is that whatever we get should have some diversity, so that the people can use, make use of it. If it is simply duplicate, putting into one box, another box, another box, that increases sometimes load. This is about the field day. Normally, we have it at the fourth week of the March, when crop has a phenotypic expression to judge the genotype and also to look at the disease spectrum. This is about the utilization of summer nursery. Many of you who are not aware about this place, it's about 20 years back, it was very hard to reach there, because that Rohtang Pass, which we had to pass through, is closed for about 5 months, 4 to 5 months, and sometimes it is not even clear in the month of first week of May. So, many of our colleagues had to walk for about 30 kilometers, pass through the Rohtang and go plant the material for the cooperators. This is the level of difficulty or hardship that they had to pass through. Let me also share, because you are young and you are starting. When we had this nursery in Dalang Maidan, which is 15 kilometers from Kelong, there was no permanent structure. And you can imagine how difficult it would have been staying in tents for 10-15 days for a person having no facility there. And to your surprise, people searched this website location specifically for yellow rust. They were not at that time interested in looking for the off-season nursery for other purposes, because the yellow rust flow, it is anticipated that it starts from Himalayas, it gets down somewhere in Himalayas, and in the main season it has come down to foothills, and then from foothills probably my pathology colleague Dr. Saharan or Vaibhav will tell you the epidemiology. I am not the right person, I may confuse you. So, just take that this is the inflow or the route, and for that purpose this was established, and it has given very good results. Now, we grow around 30,000 lines there from all centers and allow people to go there, visit it, make their own screening selections, but we help them in planting and harvesting and sending the produce. This I will skip. This is just, I was sharing you that how much, if you look at the top corner table, this shows that how many centers, locations we have in each zone, voluntary and funded, and if you see the total number is 118, and this I am talking about the crop season which is going on 1920. And if you look at the bottom table, you will see that how many trial series, how many sites, how many entries, how many checks, and what is the total number of genotypes we are handling every year, and that is routed through these 3 trial sets. Now, I would take 1 minute and tell you, Baba, can I have water? Tell you that we have very vibrant system of testing and promoting the material. Vibrant, I am saying, because we have made, oh, thank you. Vibrant, no, it is used, somebody has used it. Vibrant, I am saying, how many of you are from breeding? Can you raise your hands? Core breeding or biotechnology breeding? Let me differentiate that also. Field breeding? Okay, that is good. So, for 4 of you, we had a statistical analysis system to look at the yield, also the ranking across locations, and that ranking is based on the 2 significant, non-significant groups. So, if an entry is having place in first non-significant group and there is a check in that group, then we were taking it straightway, because we assumed that this is statistically superior in terms of yield. But for last 3 years, we have made changes. We feel that ranking and yield per se performance was not good enough. So, now we have said that it has to be 10% level of statistical significance, which a genotype, test genotype has to prove, and that is why I am saying. The second is that about a decade back we had no restriction of yellow rust incidence in northeastern plain zone, but now we have put restriction there also. The third issue that I want to say, which is very important as on date, is that now anything which has less than 10% protein will be very rare case which will get through, very rare. Rare is I am saying because if it has extraordinary other features, say higher yield or better resistance, then only we will give it a chance. Since we are talking about the rust or particularly of wheat, the lower portion is very useful for you. I forgot to mention that checkmate table here, but I can share that. And this average coefficient of infection, maximum severity 40S, and varieties with asterisk. The asterisk here means that the higher susceptibility only at one location, which may be due to several reasons. So, we give a chance to the varieties or genotypes which have asterisk. And the last point is that anything which can create problem for other zones also does not get through. I do not think you people are really interested in having the information of genotypes for different zones, different production conditions, but if any one of you are interested, you can look at it. The varieties which are with red color are those which have been recently notified. Out of the 14 genotypes that we have got notified only couple of days back. Similarly, for central and peninsular zone, and I would like to point out that DDW47 which we are looking at is a Durham genotype, and if you know, Durham has the different products like dalia, suji, pasta, macaroni, and for that the requirement of yellow pigment or beta carotene is there. In addition to that, you have the recovery problem of yellow berry. So, this genotype DDW47 is the genotype, the first genotype of this country which has highest beta carotene, yellow pigment, and that is why we are looking at it from the nutritional security point of view. And since it is durum wheat, it would be largely used for breakfast cereals or other uses. And now, since packaged food, semi-processed, processed food is also gaining attention, such genotypes will have extraordinary importance in time to come. This I have already told. Now, this you need to look, I got it. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. These are the few examples. DBW14 is the genotype. How many of you are aware of shuttle breeding approach? Okay, very few. So, let me spend some time. How much time, Dr. Vaibhav, I have? No, as per plan. And how much remaining? 10 minutes? Okay. Shuttle bidding is a new, it's not a new concept. It was given by Dr. Norman Borlaug. And when they were doing breeding at CIMMYT, they had a location which was about 450, Dr. Satish, the two locations distance at Mexico, 450. These two locations were 400 plus kilometer apart, and they had two different climates. So, Dr. Norman Borlaug as a wheat breeder at CIMMYT used these two locations where they were shuttling material from one to another and backwards for a purpose to look at the disease resistance. We made a need based change in that approach at our institute in 1996, and we called it modified shuttle bidding, where we were developing material at Karnal and sharing with centers in eastern, central and peninsular India. We got added advantage of wider adaptation. In addition to yield or disease spectrum, we got another advantage, and this DBW14 is the first wheat genotype which was resultant of that shuttle bidding approach. The second one, two cases, WB2 and HPBW1, these are the two genotypes, first two genotypes which were released by the system as nutrient-dense genotypes of wheat. They had higher zinc and iron content. The third one which I put with red is a genotype from this institute developed by Dr. Rajbir Yadav. This is basically for conservation agriculture. Now 723, we have couple more genotypes which have come as a result of marker assisted breeding program. The last one VL987, because nowadays organic farming is gaining momentum and attention of the country, not only researchers, development agencies, policy planners, environmentalists, and we also have a pressure from the consumers. People are looking for organic food, be it of any cost. People are ready, and let me share, if many of you may not be knowing, people are ready to take 200 rupees liter milk and 1600 rupees kg ghee, 1100 rupees kg honey. How many of you know that this can be the cost? And above this, 123 rupees liter drinking water, and they say that it is right from Gomukh. So, this is the awareness among the consumers about the food. It is different question that how reliable and trustworthy things are. I am not saying that they are not at all trustworthy, but what I mean to say that as on date there is no procedure, there is no testing mechanism, there is no biochemical test to differentiate between organic and inorganic. And if any one of you have come through any publication on this, I would be very happy to go through that. Now, this is about the new initiative which I was sharing. And you see the site mean of Karnal 8.9 tons, that means 90 quintals per hectare. And on zonal basis, the two genotypes DBW303 and DBW187, they are the two. 187 is already released. We are to make a recommendation for early sowing, because this I am referring sowing on 25th of October, that means about 10 days earlier than the normal sowing, and also 150% recommended 150% more recommended dose of fertilizer plus 30 tons of FYM. In addition to this, there are two chemicals. One is for the growth regulator to check the extraordinary height, and the other one is the growth promoter to give boost to the normal growth of the wheat plant, and that has given us result. We are in the second year of test of this trial, and hopefully we will be able to give two materials to the country. Last year also we initiated a precursor trial to this, and now we will be seeking entries which have high yield potential from the country. This particularly relates to you that tackling new pathotypes and threats. Threats I am saying because we have got several biological threats. The two I can name is wheat blast, which was never a problem of India or South Asia, but in 2016 it has been reported from Bangladesh, and since we have very porous border with Bangladesh, we are having all time threat to check our material, and for that purpose Government of India had made a no wheat holiday for 5 kilometer area and no wheat zone for 2 years in that particular potential threat area. The second problem which is bothering us very recent is though we have not verified the exact, but people say that fall armyworm is likely to give a threat to wheat. It is not a problem of wheat, it is a problem of maize, but people say that they have some incidents. We are yet to confirm, but keeping eye on that also. And the point which I have written with blue against UG99, this was a race of stem rust which evolved at Uganda in the year 1999. We had anticipated breeding, screening methods, tested the material. Luckily, we could not be affected with this as it has never touched Indian territory, but this was also a very threat, very potential threat. Now, I will spend 1 minute on wheat blast. This was a problem in Brazil, Bolivia, has been reported in Bangladesh, and as a anticipatory or preparatory action, we are screening all our test material which is in NIVT or AVT at Bolivia and also at Bangladesh. Jessore is a location where they have created a facility to screen against wheat blast, and you would be happy that we have more than a dozen, I am saying more than a dozen released Indian varieties which hold good for the present race of wheat blast. So, that means we or the country is safe from that angle. This Dr. Saharan or Vaibhav will tell you in detail, but this is just to show that how prompt. And let me share that we have very proud history, and proud is because people have made selfless contributions. There were people who opted to work in India, who had options to go abroad, but opted to work for India, and that may be the contribution of those selfless people, our predecessors, who have invested their knowledge, time and energy on the Indian wheat program. We keep our eye open right from November, because the threat of yellow rust starts sometimes middle of December. And if it starts in middle of December and you get 5 to 7, how many of you are pathologists? Oh, very good number. And if you get 5 to 6 cycles of yellow rust, that means you may be having a situation where there will be no seed set because of the yellow rust. So, it is really a killer disease for us. Brown rust, we say it is a beggar, because it comes at the time when crop is almost ready. So, it does not affect, and this is the system that we follow to keep track on different races, their movement, and also their preparatory action, because as soon as we get result from the Simla Center about the race analysis, we want the breeders to incorporate the proven sources of resistance against that particular race. And the last option, which is chemical management, we really in wheat are blessed. We use minimum agrochemicals. I do not know how many of you are aware, but farmers are trying to behave smart. If we say that you use 0.2%, by the time it reaches to field, you know how much it becomes? More than 5%. And that toxicity is neither good for soil, nor for plant, and nor for human being. So, we are lucky that we use minimum agrochemicals. We have some problems of weedicide resistance, and we also have problems of not having label claim for new disease threats like wheat blast. Luckily, we got one label claim for a chemical. In case it comes, so we have a chemical ready for the option to exercise. This I would skip because not much, but for you, we hold strategy planning meetings, because one of our job is to keep government, Department of Agriculture Cooperation and Farmers Welfare awake about the new threats, new problems, about the new technology. And thus, we organize strategy planning meetings, issue advisories, news, health, wheat crop health newsletter, and also create awareness among the farmers about the new problems. This is about the wheat blast survey that we did last crop season. This will really tell you as a pathologist, maybe Dr. Saran must have shown this slide. Not yet. So, I am preempting him, please pardon me for that. This is the quantum of pathology that we are doing in the wheat. And if wheat and barley both, and if you know the Shark wheat disease monitoring nursery is one of the very proactive measure that this country has, because it will tell you the problem scenario in neighboring countries, and if anything comes through Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan to this country, then we are aware that this is the problem that we are likely to get. And the material that we screen gives us the idea that whether geographical evolutionary system of developing genotype or geographical indicators of race movement, or the breeding approaches where breeders use different approaches for making crosses, daily, line into tester or anything, which one is giving a better outcome or output. Now, I think I am just coming to the close. This is about the abiotic stresses, and for those breeders, now time is gone when we were doing breeding for individual or single trait, and that was grain yield. Now, our job is little complex. I have one more slide to show. This is just to tell you that you do not get heat stress every year. At the maturity, you do not get heat stress every year, but once you get, it really tells you how severe the problem could be. And luckily, we are blessed to have different zones starting from North Hill, Srinagar to Assam, where wheat crop is grown, and that heat problem is not common from Srinagar to Assam. We have pockets where this becomes a threat. Similarly, waterlogging, you do not get it every year, but this is the year. How many of you are aware that we have got unseasonal rains starting from December? And northwest India, in majority of the area, there is no irrigation to wheat crop. Can you believe it? Till date, we would have given at least 3, but we have not given even 1. And as a result, our restricted irrigated crop, where we apply 1 or 2 irrigations, is looking as good as irrigated. Wise river or contradiction to this could be that if you have more rains and it is spread over reasonable duration, it will cause yellowing, and that time farmers get confused whether this yellowing is due to waterlogging or due to yellow rust. This is also a problem where we have to educate farmers and extension agencies. And once you have the problem of waterlogging, that can also be very taxing in terms of yield. I would skip these 2 slides and come to this. This is the latest update on the trait based genotype or material available to the breeders or researchers in the country to incorporate. And you would be happy that we now have material which is holding good for individual physiological parameters, be it canopy temperature, chlorophyll content, chlorophyll fluorescence, and recently we have got one very good parameter that is called NDVI. It is a vegetation difference index which tells you about the crop condition, and they also say that if you have disease, be it yellow rust or leaf blight, or even in case of wheat blast, the NDVI index will tell you whether your crop is good, it needs nitrogen, or it has some problem to take care of from disease angle. I will tell my breeding colleagues that our recent parameter is the radiation use efficiency. If you have foggy days for wheat crop and which prevails for longer time, then many of the genotypes will not be able to use photosystem for photosynthetic efficiency, and as a result there will be a penalty on yield. So, now we are starting a program to look at the radiation use efficiency, and we are sure that in our material of landraces and genotypes released varieties, we will find some material which will hold good for radiation use efficiency also. These are the traits to a breeder to look at. I told you the number comes about 30, but this is primarily the yield resistance. And now we say that this mobile, all of us use it. It has taken away watch, it has taken away camera, it has taken away laptop and many more things. Now people say that you will have mobiles which you can walk through, you can scan, we call it image based scanning, your crop and come out And recently I got a paper to review. There is a paper which they say that a selection index can be developed based on images through which a researcher can make selection in crop and do not depend on the selection criteria that we call the heat tolerant, drought tolerant, yellow rust resistance or anything else. And so, if you remember, I told you I want to learn few things from you, but you did not tell anything till now. This is the time and this is the science where we need to be proactive. You cannot work now with desktop. You cannot now work with the Minolta camera. You cannot now work with the larger field size, because resources are comparatively shrinking. And so, the dependence on technology will increase to the tune that I was yesterday very happy to know that in Africa, a guy has started Uber to tell his neighbor farmers that he has got facility of tractor, farm machinery. Anyone who is interested can indent and take advantage of that. This is the technological advancement that is taking place. The second case I would like to cite is, many people are leaving the private highly paid jobs. Highly paid means something around 1 lakh plus per month, and they are moving to supply chain, marketing, processed food, and also Dr. Satish was briefing me, I was very happy. One of his colleague has started an app where he will be distributing inputs to the need based farmers through mobile apps. So, this is the technological advancement that is taking place. So, the breeding perspective or pathology research has to also move forward. Probably last but one, these are the 11 genotypes which I was saying that we have given to Government of India, Department of Agriculture for National Food and Nutritional Security Mission, and they will be taking up seed production program of these varieties for midday meals and also for the areas where the reports of medical reports of malnutrition, anemic and other problems are occurring or can say increasing. This is about the seed. I do not think you are very interested in this. Probably last. Earlier our job was to give technology, develop a variety and go to your lab, look for another variety that you want to give, or for that matter technology. If you have given yellow rust resistance to one gene, you can now look at the other gene. But now that job does not end there. Now we have been given responsibility to also popularize the technology and also generate the revenue. So we took a copy from our sister concern, and this institute is very proactive in that approach, that you commercialize your technology. And you would be happy that one of this variety DBW 187 was shared with 165 private seed growers at the cost of 62,000 rupees per quintal. 50,000 rupees was the registration fee and about 10,000 rupees was the royalty, about 2,000 rupees is the seed cost. And we also gave it to about 10,000 farmers through mini kit. So, what I am saying is that it is not only the job of researcher is not, as a researcher is not only to give technology, but to also popularize it and take it to the ultimate user. Last, these are some of the challenges, and if you look at the recent one is genotype into tillage into disease. I would like to just highlight this, rest of the things I have already explained. this means how many of you are aware of residue burning problem in the country? Hare, I am really surprised. You people don't read newspaper then. In the month of October, November and December, there is a very alarming situation from all newspaper, media, our environmentalists, that the problem of rice residue burning is creating health issues, health problems, environmental issues to people staying in Delhi. And as a result, they say that we need to look at the options. Why I am saying is, because you will also be affected, if not today, maybe tomorrow. So that genotype into tillage into disease, if we change the tillage, the disease or the pest spectrum also changes. And if pest spectrum is changing according to genotype tillage, then you need to have a strategy in place to address all the issues. Luckily, we have got, it is not related to your topic, but general information. We have recently got a machine through which you can do wheat sowing 24/7. It is not very costly, about 2 lakh rupees, and you can use the full straw, whatever is there in wheat, for wheat crop, be it maize, be it rice or be it sugarcane. So, with that residue, wheat crop can be sown, and you can also call it zero tillage with minimum tillage, save money, also save energy and clean your environment. With this, thank you very much for your time, patience hearing, and I would be very happy to share if you have queries. Thank you.